What's up, Wisconsin? From the Inside Wisconsin studios and back from London, Trevor and John. Johnny! Flannel season, baby. It's
Not
back.
me. I'm still in short sleeves. I'm not giving up yet. Like, despite today's guest, I'm still in the Ariens mowing the lawn phase of my year. I'm not ready to go to the Ariens snow throwing part of the year. So, London was a disaster. I mean, it was terrific. It was more fun than you can shake a stick at. It was so good, and the first half was great, and then it wasn't.
And then everybody was sad and just got out of London as fast as you
crazy.
could.
I met all kinds of friends of the program there, right? Like, wow, there's Dick Leinenkugel, who was at the pep rally, and Leroy Butler, obviously, who was there, and then Olivia Harlan, and there's Sam, who, because he's a giraffe, right? I mean, wait, why do I know that guy? And like standing up, and there he was. And so, we saw a lot of people. We had a grand old time. Right up until the whole final score, and the Packers can't seem to shake it.
Yeah, it seems to be a trend, which is not trending in the right direction. All right, well, speaking of Packers, this guy's on the Packers executive committee. He's the chairman and CEO of Ariens Co. He's got the last name Ariens. He's building a Nordic. He does a lot of things, including throw snow. Let's talk to him, Dan Ariens of Ariens Co.
Inside Wisconsin is brought to you by Baycare Clinic, Blaine's Farm and Fleet, the University of Wisconsin-Platteville, Rolltech, Festival Foods, Capital Credit Union, North Star Mohican Casino Resort, American Family Insurance, Miller Lite, and Ariens Company.
And there he is, the man of the hour, fourth generation Ariens himself, chairman, CEO. That is Dan Ariens of Ariens Company. Ariens Co., Ariens Company. I think he'll answer to both. What's up, Dan? Good to see you.
Good to see you, and thanks for having me on.
Wow, fourth generation, like, was the priesthood or pro football player or fireman an option?
Well, yeah, that was always an option. I don't know that I would have gotten near to the priesthood. I don't think that was an option, but fireman was on the cards.
Give me the responsibility that goes with that. I mean, and because we don't have any married names in the business or anything, man, it is Ariens still.
Yeah. So if you go back to the history, my great grandfather, Henry, moves himself from Sheboygan Falls. So we're a Wisconsin family from, our German roots, but Ariens is actually a Dutch name, but, northern part of Germany as you know it today. But Henry moves from Sheboygan Falls where he was farming. He's a blacksmith, 1893, comes to Brillion, Wisconsin. He's still pounding iron. And then in, the later part of 1896 or 7, he incorporates the Brillion Iron Works. And he's a real entrepreneur. This is turn of the century. There's a lot going on. Henry starts his business and builds a blacksmith foundry here in Brillion, Wisconsin in the turn of the century, the 1900s, and he moves along pretty good. And my grandfather and my father and myself, I just kind of guess a lot of Henry blood in the system, and we've kind of all just had this grit and determination to build a business and keep it here and keep running it and do the best we can.
Yeah, you're doing a good job of keeping it there. You're like rebuilding Brillion. I mean, there's so many things going on there in Brillion with Aaron's name on it. We're going to cover a lot of those. Fourth generation means something, though, here in Wisconsin. There's so many different brands across the state that it truly is a family business for the last X number of years. And Brillion's always been home. Dan, tell us about that.
Why Brillion? I think he was logging and he turned that into back to his foundryman roots, or actually blacksmithing. Brillion just kind of became a destination. And so we've been here since the late 1800s, and we've made it home, right? Henry, great grandfather, was alderman, mayor, fireman, then a couple hundred people in farming community. Everybody did everything to build a community here. So we have very deep roots here, and along with, names like Banky and Geigers and some others that are still here in the community, many generations, and the township of Brillion, we're about 3,000 people and still kicking along, right? Still making lawnmowers here today, but started with banging horseshoes, that kind of thing.
ESPN's in Bristol, Connecticut. It's this big, right? Same kind of thing. People always go, well, especially because, New York's the media headquarters. How come you won't move to a bigger place? And Trevor asked me that one time. He said, "Come out here and see it." And you're like, "How are you going to move this to New York
Right.
or to?" But have there been opportunities, or was there ever a thought in the timeline here that we needed to be somewhere bigger, a broader, someplace with more people and more resources, kind of thing along the way, that you either resisted or made the choice that no, this is home and this will always be home?
Yeah, that's a great question, John. We acquired this brand Gravely, which is a professional lawnmower business, in 1982, and we kind of wrestled with the idea of, there was a big plant in Winston-Salem, or Clemens, North Carolina, a little town outside of Winston. We looked at, hey, lots of capacity there. We had a lot of capacity here in Brillion with our 350 some thousand square feet of 2 plants here. So really, for about 10 years, we watched the business grow. We looked at, one of our challenges in the Ariens company business is the snow business. It can come and go. Like 3 years we set records, and then for the next 3 years we fall into a trough, and the business falls down. The Gravely business was lawnmowers, and the lawnmower season that runs 9-10 months, depending on the part of the country that you're in. Snowblowers, if we get 90 good days of snow, we're really lucky. So we talked about at the time, would we move this business to North Carolina, where we had, really strong lawnmower business, and we could build that stronger and then cap that off with a good snow season. But then as we looked at the trade-off and we looked at the families here in Brillion, we looked at the fact that we had at that time 2 generations, and I was getting into the business, and I was an executive at the time, but not running the business in 1982. It was my father that said, look, this is our home, and let's keep it here. So, with Dad saying we're going to be here, I mean, that kind of set a foundation, which is already there, but we just kind of built on it. And at that time, in 1992, we closed the Clemens, North Carolina facility, moved it all to Brillion, and that really cemented everything for us, and this became home.
So you talk about the snow being kind of, you're at the mercy of the weather, as we all are. I have a good friend who will remain nameless, but he was in the power company business, and he was on CNN or MSNBC one time explaining that this company had a downfall, and he was trying to very politely say that it had suffered some because, well, generators weren't sold a lot because we didn't have enough hurricanes, which you get. Like, do you ever kind of actively root for snowstorms? Right? Like, wow, hey,
right.
good nor'easter up there in Syracuse. Love to see that on the radar.
Well, I am always actively rooting for a good snowstorm, and I will tell you, as much as it's a lot of work, I get more letters of joy from people who have just conquered a snowstorm or a blizzard with their Ariens snow throw. Like every time there's a major nor'easter, I get a dozen letters. Dear Mr. Ariens, please tell your employees how much I love your snowblower. So as much as we moan about snow, there's something about being a champion of that snowstorm and getting your driveway clean. So it's all good.
You're quickly becoming, though, the champion of snow, right? Like, there's, of course, the Ariens snow thrower, but Ariens Hill now in Titletown at Lambeau Field.
Yeah, we like to say we're the king of snow.
Yeah.
Ariens Hill, that's a great sponsorship that we have with the Green Bay Packers. Titletown and Titletown Tech and everything that's being developed by the Packers in Green Bay is just terrific for the community at large and the state at large. When we, and I discovered the Packers were going to build this sledding hill, it just fit our culture, our brand. It spoke of snow to us, and we're a family business, so a sledding hill for us is a family event. We thought it was a great sponsorship for us to be on top of the hill, and again, sort of king of snow and king of the hill, and we love being a sponsor on that. And we do family events there. We help the Packers sponsor family events, but we also have our own employees have a special day there on the sledding hill with their families. It's a lot of fun.
John, have you gone down Ariens Hill?
I have. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Just making sure.
I want to know the number of people you think mistakenly at first think, "Wow, they named that after Aaron Rodgers," and then they show up and they go, "But they spelled his name wrong."
I'm going to say 0.
Yeah.
Really? See, I think maybe it's a touristy thing. I think like 80% of the people that come in are like, well, let's go to Ariens Hill. And they go, wait, what the hell is that? Right? Like that's a hazard.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to work
Maybe
on our
that's an
brand.
out of towner, right? And this show
Yeah.
isn't for those people, right?
Right.
I mean, if we can recruit some folks
Yeah.
in, that's totally fine, but that's not usually that's not where we're trafficking right now. We always say, if you know what a bubbler is, you're a friend of our show. That's where we go.
That's right.
Listen, if in addition to Ariens Hill, you build yourself as what we plow Lambeau or something where the people that do Lambeau and we mow the White House lawns, like those are two really, that's some healthy responsibility as well.
Well, it is, and we're happy to take on that mantle. But the other one that I'm very proud of is our company is we take care of the grounds at the 9/11 Memorial in New York City, in Manhattan. We keep the grounds clean. Every snowblower there, every power broom. We are in charge of making sure that that site is clear. Again, in the middle of any kind of blizzard or nor'easter that might hit New York. Those are statement places for us to have our product. And there's an awful lot of pride here in Northeast Wisconsin for the American spirit, the American drive, the entrepreneur that build this country, the entrepreneurs all over the country. And when our product can say the same thing that everyone else can say about how this country was built, there's a whole lot of pride for us in that. So
9/11. That I've been there. It's incredible. I would have never thought that. I would have never pieced together that takes a cleanup in the winter. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So back to snow for a second. There's this Nordic Center now in Brillion, which we're going to talk a lot about, I'm sure. But there just seems to be connections here with snow sports and snow throwing and the King of Snow. What is the Nordic Center all about?
Well, yeah, thanks, Trevor. We, if I can back up a little bit, it's part of, and we can come and talk about this a little bit, but the overall idea here is if, as John just asked, we're staying in Brillion, we're going to grow our business. The last 5 years, we've tripled our business. How do we continue to stay in Brillion, recruit the kind of talent we need to be able to build this business, have the amount of people, the amount of labor we need to build our product here in Brillion? How do we grow this community so we can continue to stay here? So we need to build Brillion in a way that helps us make a statement about why live in rural Wisconsin, Northeast Wisconsin, why be part of what we're doing here at Ariens Company. So we keep saying that we're trying to build reasons to come and visit Brillion, and then we're going to build reasons to stay, to live here, to move here, to be part of this community, to be part of developing a wonderful small community here. And the Nordic Center is just one of those places. And I would say it's probably one of the biggest things we're doing to build this community. When I first made the statement, and it goes back to building a hospitality business, we built Ariens Hospitality with 2 big event centers that draw people into the community for business events, weddings, anniversaries, all kinds of events at these 2 venues. We looked out at the property we had at one of the venues, Round Lake Farms, and it's a gorgeous piece of property. We're at the top end of what I would consider the northern part of any kettle moraine. Beautiful rolling hills, lots of marshes, not great growing land, not great for corn or soy, but a beautiful part of Northeast Wisconsin. And we had been a sponsor of the U.S. Biathlon team and Nordic Ski. Looking over the site, I kind of blurted out, maybe we could build a Nordic Center here with biathlon competitions. The next thing I know, we're designing a trail and we're building this Nordic Center. And we celebrated that not too long ago with our soft opening with the Olympic athletes here in Brillion. And I would say, looking back, if 10 years from now I look back, I think this may be one of the more important things we've done. I think it might be the more exciting thing we've done for Brilliant. We had the president of U.S. Biathlon here and Nordic Ski, and Max Cobb said that this is one of the most stunning venues he's been at. He helped design it, but I think it just speaks to what we have here in Northeast Wisconsin as just geographically, it's a beautiful part of the country, and we're proud to show it off with the Ariens Nordic Center.
So cool.
The country you're in too is like you're right there in a test market for your products, right? We got farmers and we got snow. We got, right. Some people, restaurants have to go build somewhere else. It is like, how tied are you to the community in that regard? And that, this is where we can get first run on all this stuff, first trial.
Yeah, the community here is all using our product, right? So we're getting all kinds of, test time. But to be honest, if we want real snow for a long period of time, we go up to the Keweenaw Peninsula in the upper peninsula of Michigan, where, by the way, just last week they had, I think, almost 3 feet of snow. And here we are, October 25th, is it? So that's the kind of snow we like. At the Nordic Center, we're going to make snow so that we can assure skiers of good quality skiing, and the biathlon competition. They know that they can come here and compete on good snow, even if we don't have a good snow year. People don't really realize it. John, you grew up here in Northeast Wisconsin in Green Bay, but our average snowfall is like 35 inches a year. So it's not huge snow, but we know it's going to get cold, right? So we can make snow when the weather is real cold. So we'll assure skiers of good quality skiing.
Pretty solid business model. Just make your own snow. Oh, the wind that day covered Brilliant. What the heck? Anyway, get out there.
Now you can just go dump in people's driveways. Now you've really got something.
We're working on that.
Oh, man. All right, lots more to come with Dan Ariens, the chairman and CEO of Ariens Co. We're back in a bit inside Wisconsin. We pause for a beer break. It's time to talk Miller Lite. It's Miller time, J.A.
I'd rather not just talk. I should have had one ready. I should have sampled the product like you could back in the. Yeah, you can do that.
I do.
Take that. Yeah. Like when you were a kid, did you have somebody, a sports figure that you thought, boy, that's my guy. I want to be that guy?
It was Bob Uecker.
Bob. Okay, good. Not terribly athletic, but the announcer, right? You didn't want to be a 200 hitting catcher for the Cardinals and the Braves.
It was all about this thing.
Right. You knew, right? He was exactly 200.
Yeah.
Right.
You told me that he had to do something in his last at bat.
And I wanted to be, first and foremost, Dwight Stones, the high jumper. And I idolized Walter Payton, but I knew I wasn't going to be that guy. But I kind of want to be Dwight Stone. That's what Miller Lite is. Like, Miller Lite is what the other beers, they want to be. It's the Uecker of beers. It's the Dwight Stones of beers. And everybody else wants to be Miller Lite. That's just basically how it works out.
That's because all the others wish they tasted like beer, like Miller Lite actually does taste like beer. Can you remember those old Bob Uecker Miller Lite commercials? Oh, man.
Man, the whole thing in the front row and John Madden coming through the screen and everything else. It was just crazy. Yeah, all of them were great.
That's why I wanted to be Bob Uecker, because he was clearly the radio and the microphone guy, and he was the spokesman for Miller Lite. It was amazing. Well, let's get to beer that actually tastes like beer. That's the whole idea. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/Inside Wisconsin, or you can find it pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Celebrate responsibly. Yeah, Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. Not the 24 ouncer that I got.
I found it the other day at the nursery when we were buying mums for fall.
Just drink Miller Lite. Mums. We're back inside Wisconsin. Trevor Thomas, John Anderson, and Dan Ariens of Ariens Co. So, Dan, we know that you're in the snow business and a little bit of lawnmower business, too, we talked about, but you're also in the let's run an NFL team business. You're on the Packers executive team. So do people call you and complain when things aren't going well like they do in church council? Like, where are we at here? What's going
on? The short answer is no. They don't call me, thank goodness. And I hope this doesn't stimulate any phone calls. But no, it's a real honor. It's a privilege to be part of the Packers board and then to be on the executive committee of the board. it's an important part of Wisconsin, this football team, and it does a lot more than just win football games. It brings a huge economic influence into all of the state of Wisconsin.
There's an identity there that we draw from the Packers. And a lot of the time we talk on this program about, what has Wisconsin done for you, what it means. But I look at the Packers and they're recognizable anywhere. It used to be when I was a kid because it's changed some, but I could go anywhere and I'm like, look, there's a Fort Howard napkin. Or I can go and I look at the sewer cover and I go, look, there's the Neenah Foundry.
Yeah.
Ariens is that way too. So as often as we talk about what Wisconsin has built up for the company, what have you done for Wisconsin? Because you spread the name everywhere, across the country, across the world.
We proudly say on our product, Brilliant Wisconsin, made in Wisconsin. We'll use the U.S. flag, but when we use the U.S. flag as, made in America, we always try and say made in Brilliant or made in Wisconsin or made in Brilliant Wisconsin, both depending on the product. And I think it's an important statement to say, people know the Packers and they know the roots and they like the idea of how the Packers ownership structure works and how it's a public corporation, not owned by a single owner or a wealthy owner, as they'll say. We like the image of that as well for the Ariens Company. We like the idea that we know we have strong Midwestern roots. We have good work ethic. We have terrific people. And when we say made in Brilliant Wisconsin, that's the signature of pride that we want to put on our product. So I think we're promoting the state when we're promoting our product at the same time. So I hope that does the right things for the state of Wisconsin.
Do you also put a warning label on this? Because Trev and I had what was it? It was an orthopedic. Who was the surgeon we had on?
It was.
Said the number one thing he treats on people is these snowblower accidents because people are dumb. I'm assuming at some point we have a label on the product that says, "Hey, don't be stupid. This can hurt you," and yet somehow this continues on.
Well, there's plenty of decals. There's plenty of literature.
Yeah.
There's a lot of lessons in common sense that I hope that people get when they grow up. But just like you don't put your hand in front of a circular saw that's moving, you don't put your hand inside of a snowblower. It just, no matter what you think about being able to free a piece of debris that's hung up in there, just don't do it. I
don't want to get you in trouble with your consumers, but how do people miss this? Right? like where is the absence of common sense in this?
At the risk of being insulting, I don't think I should say anything. But there is a there's a terrific YouTube, and I don't know if it's still out there, but we used to watch it and chuckle a little bit because there's a reporter actually doing a story on accidental, accidents with snowblowers with someone putting their hand in there, and he actually demonstrates what not to do. And sure enough, yeah, it's almost live TV. I don't know if it's still out there on YouTube, but it was one we used to watch, and it's in the Darwin, sort of thing, right?
Right. Natural selection people shouldn't be around. It's your own fault. That's what I said to this guy. I said, I don't know why you repair them up. They're just going to go walk into a telephone pole. So
it was Dr. Brian Klicka with Baycare and orthopedic surgeon here in Green Bay, and phenomenal guy. My family and I are on a first name basis with him, and it has nothing to do with snowblowers, but lots of broken bones. Anyway, he says it every single winter. It is no matter how many feet of snow we get or how little, they cannot wait to get that thing out of the garage, which is good for you. Yep. And almost every time something goes haywire.
Well, Trevor, here's my sales pitch, because I think it was 1978, there was a new standard that the industry put on all snowblowers, so that you had to hold two levers down to operate the machine, one for the wheels, one for the impeller or to blow snow. Before that, you could actually, you would actually throw a lever and then operate the machine, and you had to reach down and disengage that lever to turn off the impeller or the augers, the two stages of the snowblower. Since that change, almost every one of the accidents, and I don't have data in front of me, but I can pretty much assure you 99% of the accidents happen with machines built before 1978. So I would highly recommend that people trade in the pre-78 models and get a new Ariens. The 2022 models are beautiful. So I would suggest you trade that in.
We'll throw the website.
Is there a car room show, a kind of a car showroom angle to this? Because we always wait for, like, how many advances come out with the 22s that weren't in the 21 or the 20s?
Yeah, there is. We just came off of a trade show last week where we introduced we have a 90th anniversary special edition Ariens snow throw that's really cool. We do some graphics, we do some feature upgrades, we do some performance enhancements to the machine. Every year we're investing and innovating on the machine, and that's why I say the 22, 23 models really are impressive. And it's graphics. It just looks great in your garage. You're going to be proud to leave your garage door open to show everybody off your Ariens snow throw. But the other is B, the performance enhancements, impeller size, take in more snow, travel faster, get the job done sooner, get back in the house, have a hot chocolate or hot toddy or whatever it is.
Right,
But there's a good reason to go and look at your dealer showroom to see what the new models are.
So this is kind of fun. We bought our first home here in Northeast Wisconsin in 2007, and there was two things that came with the home: the lawnmower, which was junk, and an ancient Ariens snowblower. It was in the garage. It was awesome. We moved. I don't, but I can get my hands on it, I bet. Can I? No. You know what? I gave it to the hardware store, and I was like, because I used it forever, but it was starting to go south. And anyway, long story short, they have it. I'll try to get it back. My point is, it should have went in the museum.
Yes,
because there's an awesome museum now in Brillion for Ariens.
Yeah, we thank you for that. We kicked off our museum. Really, it's almost 20 years ago. I said to my dad, we had this building kind of empty, and you know what happens to an empty building? It's like a closet at home. It starts to get full of junk. So I said, Dad, we got all these archive machines. I'm gonna create a museum. And he kind of looked at me and laughed and said, go have your fun. Get out of my hair right now. But it was, so we set up this museum, and I asked volunteers. They were retired employees who knew the history of our business, and they actually set this museum up. And about 3 years ago, we put a lot of money into remodeling this and reopening this. And we did two things. We wanted, again, this is part of building Brillion and building places to come and see Brillion. I didn't want to just tell the story of Ariens and who are we. I wanted to tell a story of the community of Brillion, a little bit of how Ariens is part of that, but then at the same time incorporate STEM learning activities that connect with our elementary school and our middle school and our high school here in Brillion, the public school system, where we've invested several $1 million in building STEM education programs and curriculum with the public schools. So together with Ariens Museum, now you have this STEM curriculum that's part of our whole museum event. For example, this summer we did 2 STEM camps with kids that were 8 to 12. Had 60 kids that went through the STEM camp, rave reviews. We had a follow-up tour with school kids 2 weeks ago through the museum, and great cute letters from the kids that said, I loved learning about your ancient history. That was kind of the fun thing, your ancient history of Ariens. But I had most of my fun building the remote robotic snowblower that could push cotton balls. So they get this Lego system we built for them, and they can do a remote control snowblower, push some cotton balls down the table, and then, so we're trying to build the museum into more than just telling a story of our brand and our company and our family. It really needs to tell more about, hey, this is Brillion, Wisconsin, and hey, there's more to do here than just learn about Ariens company. So that's what we did. It's a lot of fun.
So you guys didn't help with the pyramids of Giza. That's just a rumor, not true. But hey, if we look at this museum, I want to know your great-great-grandfather, or great-great, what do you think he would? I realize it's speculation, but like if he'd look at your new machine 2023, like, what the hell is this? Yeah. And what do you see, like when you see the first rototiller? Do you go like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, the very first rototiller, my great grandfather Henry put a snow head on the front of that. So it was, imagine a great big fan with an open face, trying to auger its way through snow, but it was running off the crankshaft of the engine. So very dangerous. I mean, cats and dogs had to run fast because it was not going to be a safe product. But I think he cleared his driveway with it, and that's what an inventor does. He's a mother of invention was necessity. Um, but I think he would look today at these products and just shake his head, saying, "Well, it's not just us and our product, but it's the combustion engine." And as we move into batteries and electronic devices that are going to operate our power equipment in the future, that I think 2 generations of anybody's company is going to say, "Oh my goodness, how did we get to here?" I mean, this is back in Henry's day, we were just trying to figure out how to fly airplanes. So looking at today's snowblower lawnmowers would be just a real shock and awe, I think.
And when you look back and look at it, though, do you go, "Wow, he was a brilliant guy," because it's not there, right? He's not improving on anything. There's nothing.
Yeah. When I look back at Henry, I thank my lucky stars, because without him, I'm not sitting here talking to you. I might be, somebody very different and have a totally different career. But I think of 2 things with Henry. One is he was an inventor. He was a practical inventor who didn't think about complicating things too much. He thought about getting a certain job done and being specific about what that was, whether it was an agricultural implement or, he invented some things in gas stove or wood burning stoves, so all kinds of inventions that Henry had. But the other is, here's a guy in his 60s, which, that's where I am. And he lost his business. So in 1933, he loses that business. And what does Henry do? I mean, he basically tightens his belt, and then he starts Ariens Company all over with about $3,000 he borrows from an aunt, and has to cash in his life insurance policy to pay his last employees who he had just had to put out of work. And I just think of a guy that had a tremendous amount of grit, and thank God he never quit. He just said, "Okay, what's next?" And that's what I think about when I think of Henry. And I think if he could look back at us and look at the work my father did or my grandfather, I think, I hope he'd look with a lot of pride at, hey, we're still in Brilliant. You're still carrying the name. You didn't sell out to anybody. You're slogging through it like I did. You're not just taking a big check and running. I think that says an awful lot. And I think Henry would be proud of that.
Yeah, it's still in Wisconsin. That was one of the things I was going to chat with you about, Dan, was we had Dick Leinenkugel on, right? I mean, 4th or 5th generation brewer. We talked to Craig Culver here in Wisconsin. We're going to chat with Mark Scogan about Festival Foods and all of the different footprints they have across the state. And here you are now, going to be 5th generation at some point, which we'll talk about. Why does it work here? I mean, Wisconsin just makes these things thrive. What is it about here?
That's a terrific question, Trevor. I think we got great water and, I just think really good work ethic. And it does go back for every one of us, the Leinenkugels, the Kohler family, the Scogans, think of ABC Supply and Diane Hendricks. And, just there's an awful lot of 2 things that happen. One is we don't quit. And I think the other is we understand that the community that we are in is as much responsible for what we have succeeded in, and we all choose to rebuild or give back or build up these communities that we're in. And I think that's unique to Wisconsin. Maybe not unique, but it's certainly special in Wisconsin. I don't know that we have a monopoly on that, but I do know that we have a lot more of it than our surrounding states, right? I won't pick on any states, but I just love Wisconsin, and I think we just have this terrific employee base and people that even people that migrate to Wisconsin start to get it, right? I love seeing young families immigrants from South America, from Mexico that we have that are awesome employees, great family people, and we now have 2 generations of them in our business. And they start to understand this is what they want to be part of this, right? They want to be part of this Wisconsin experience, and it's what keeps us here, right? Because we know if you wanted weather, there's somewhere else to be, right? So you got to have a really good reason to be part of the whole climate that we have here in Wisconsin, which we love and you learn to love over time.
But I can read your resume, and I see we spent time as a district manager in Sacramento and supply chain in the UK in Oxford. So do you sprinkle a little Brilliant when you're in there? Like, how do how do we get to infuse people with sort of the DNA of the company and Brilliant when you go out?
Oh yeah. I mean, thanks for asking, because the first thing I do is walk up to a water fountain and ask them what they call this, right? So we go right to bubbler.
Yep.
We start there. But in our company, we have core values, and those core values resonate around the world, whether it's, Sacramento or plants in Germany, the UK, Norway. We're looking at it, and we have a new operation in Tennessee that's going to open up. We have a new operation that just opened up in Shepherdsville, Kentucky for distribution. Everywhere we go, we try and bring the Wisconsin culture, which is, in our world, the core values of be honest, be fair, keep our commitments, respect the individual, and encourage intellectual curiosity. And really briefly, those first 4 core values build trust. And when we trust each other, then we get innovation through the curious ideas and the innovation and inspiration of all of our employees. When everybody trusts each other, we can take some risk. And innovation is nothing but risk, right? So curious employees create lots of new ideas for us that continue to help us grow.
That's the end of that segment. There's nothing that we're going to be able to do to follow that up.
The exclamation point right there.
Yeah, it is. We share those core values, as does Wisconsin. That's why it works here. Dan, well said. We're back in it. We're going to wrap it up with Dan Ariens from Ariens Co. in just a second. Inside Wisconsin.
Inside Wisconsin is brought to you by Baycare Clinic, Blaine's Farm and Fleet, the University of Wisconsin-Platteville, Rolltech, Festival Foods, Capital Credit Union, North Star Mohican Casino Resort, American Family Insurance, Miller Lite, and Ariens Company.
Hey, remember to subscribe on YouTube. Leave a review. Smash the like button. Just get with us. Time for another top 5 list here at Inside Wisconsin, presented by Wisconsin's best engineering school, the University of Wisconsin-Platteville. UW-Platteville offers an affordable engineering program, and its graduates stay here and build Wisconsin. Just like Ariens is building Brilliant, they stay home. Thank God. Driving innovation at top companies right here at home. Find out more at uwplatt.edu/engineering. All right, J.A., so I challenged us for this top 5 list. We talk all the time about Lambeau and AmFam Field and all the things in Madison. I wanted to know, is there a top 5 list of like sports destinations here in the state that are maybe like not your big ones, I guess?
Yeah, I don't know if they're necessarily destinations. All I know is I'm like, this is impossible.
Okay.
The other one's easy. Yeah, here's Lambeau, here's that, right? And we did that before. Like, I can't use Dane County Coliseum, and I came thinking, so much of this is to preference in destinations wise. Right. If you have if you're a curler, you can come to Wisconsin. We had ice houses, right? Or hockey rinks, which is not my thing, but those are great venues that people can go to. When we had Matt Kenseth talking about, all the little bull rings, whether it's in Outagamie County or, the La Crosse Fairgrounds, those are out there that people want. Like they're building the biathlon center in Brilliant, but you could go and do what was a Cable to Hayward or whatever the Birkebeiner is. You go to the Berkey and go cross country ski. Right. So that's out there. Heck, you can go to Wisconsin for the Bellin Run. I say that because, the New York Marathon's coming out. We're into that. But some of the great runners that have won the Bellin Run, like it's Ed Eyestone, who's going to coach a national champion probably this year, or Joe Samuelson, who won an Olympic gold medal. Like all those things are unbelievable. And I'm like, they're not even going to make my list. All they're doing is going to make the conversation before the list. And then I'm going to get And here's the worst part. I'm going to start my top 5 and I'm going to expand the Wisconsin border 4.5 miles.
No,
I got to get to the UP. And so if I'm just past Niagara, I want to go to Iron Mountain and see the Pine Mountain ski jump.
Is that acceptable? I mean, I'll let it
It
slide,
is.
but
I think it
All
is
right.
because you can kind of see it's tall. You can see it from the border. So I'm going to count that because I think
So if
that's
you can see
amazing
it.
if you watch that.
all right.
Right?
Got it.
Yeah, it's tall. I can see that.
The UP is kind of Wisconsin
So,
anyway.
and with all the love I have and a little deference in my heart to UW Parkside, people should go see the UW. Excuse me, Platteville. You should go see the UW Parkside cross country course. There's my running plug.
Okay.
But that place for 25, 26 years had the NAIA national championships. It's had D2 national championships. It's had a U.S. national championship there, Athletics Congress. It's had D1, D2, D3 championship conference meets there. If you get a chance, go see it. You're like, oh, it's this big field. It's one of the best cross country courses in the whole nation. And the first 800 yards straight up the hill are a bitch.
Why would they do that? That doesn't make a good course.
Number 3, this is a nod to our boy Dick, since he's got the cabin up there, is Eagle River. And the
snowmobile
Derby.
races. Yeah.
Yes, you got to go up the snowmobile derby. It
That's
used to be
great.
the same weekend as the Super Bowl. Now the Super Bowl gets pushed back, so you don't have that problem. A dear friend of mine in this business by the name of Al Jerkins, who actually was on Channel 2 for many years. And then I met Al in Tulsa. Al worked in Tulsa then forever. And he used to tell me that they would draw straws, the guys at the sports station. And the short stick had to go to Eagle River, and the long stick stayed and did the show and did the Super Bowl.
Oh.
And he talks about how cold it was, and the batteries would freeze, and you have to put them on top of your car to heat them up. And yeah, it was great.
Jeez.
So number 2 is really hard because I know people love the new Resch Center.
Yeah.
But I'm a Brown County Veterans Memorial Arena kind of guy.
That's going to make some people happy. Fans of the show, big fans of the Brown County.
Which is not there.
Memorial
And I
Complex.
just put a list of some of the things that have happened there that I was there for. I've seen
cool.
Bobcats games. I've seen UW Fighting Phoenix games, including when they beat number 1 Puget Sound in the tournament. I've seen boat shows, Scout-O-Ramas. The Packer Hall of Fame used to be in there. The Globetrotters. And, oh, by the way, I graduated from the place.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got your diploma there.
Yeah. So that's all on my list. And number 1 is Lake Michigan.
I didn't see that coming.
Listen, it's right. Just go up and down the course, man. You can the coast.
True.
I can golf on the coast. I can swim. I can sail. I can boat.
cool.
I can fish. So it's a big body of water. I realize it's not named for us. You can't. So Lake Michigan is my number 1 spot.
That's
Right
really cool.
there.
That was a great list. You were really nervous about that when we talked about it.
I was nervous
that
because I'm like, how am I going to narrow this down? There's too much stuff,
did a great job.
And I will tell you a quick joke from my roommate who lived in college, a guy named Dave Jensen from Mount Pleasant, Michigan, and he lived obviously on the Michigan side. And we were at a party at the University of Missouri, and a young lady who was at the J School from New York was there because that's who he came from all over to the J School. And Dave was explaining where he was from, and I was explaining I was on the other side of the lake, and she said, Lake Michigan, is that big enough to sail on? And my boy Dave, without missing a beat, just said yes, but only 2 boats at a time, so you got to call ahead. So that's what I always think about Lake Michigan. You can sail on it, but you got to call ahead because you can only fit 2 boats. All right, I'm done. I've taken too much time, but this should be the longest part of the show. If
this is my top 5
list. If
list.
this gets edited, it's your head.
I promise. Scout's honor. All right, here we go. Number 5 for me, any Northwoods League game. The Northwoods League teams are thick here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams in Wisconsin. All of the stadiums are different. They're all really awesome. I am partial to the Green Bay Rockers here. That's where we were. Get to a Northwoods League game. Those are a blast. All right.
Always love a ballpark.
4, yeah, I have a very baseball heavy thing here. Number 4, the Pettit National Ice Center. Man, Bonnie Blair. Remember talking about that? I was driven by there so many times when I was a kid. The Pettit. Really cool. Number 3, Hellfair Field. So it's not technically AmFam Field. It's just outside. It's where County Stadium used to be. They put a Little League diamond right there, and you can stand at the home plate of County Stadium. This is where it was. I just think that is so cool. So check out Hellfair Field. All right, number 2, the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers. That is the high A, I believe, affiliate of the Milwaukee Brewers. That used to be low A. Now it's the high A affiliate. A T-Rats game is really fun down in Appleton at Neuroscience Group Field, Fox City Stadium.
Right.
The T-Rats are a blast, man.
Yep,
Go there.
Okay, good. You should have told me I'd have worn my I got my T-Rattlers cap here.
I know
I have
you
an
do.
old I have an old Appleton Foxes cap.
Yeah, you do. You brought that out already. That was the
Back in the day.
Capathon that we had. Remember that?
Yep.
You
Yeah, I
just
was
said
there for
something
that.
fascinating. Rattlers or rattlers?
T-Rats.
There.
Split the
Cop
difference.
out. Number 1, the Pink Flamingo Classic. Best softball tournament in all the land. Raised $1.39 million for charity. It's here in De Pere. You guys know I'm a part of that. It's a blast. I still want you to come back. It's the 40th next year.
Yeah.
What if you announced a little bit? I'm putting that out there for the public to choose. Why?
Screw that. If I'm coming, I'm hitting 4th.
Let's go.
Announce my ass. I'm in. I better be in the top half of the order. I'm offended.
Okay, sorry. I brought it up. You can bartend too.
Won't see me breaking my leg or whatever. Didn't you get hurt at that too?
Time to move on. Back to Dan. We're back to wrap it up on Inside Wisconsin with Dan Ariens, the CEO and chairman of Ariens Company. All right, Dan, 2 from me. John gave you the spiel off camera, and then he'll take you through the lightning round. One of my questions is, what do you do for fun? Dan, you're a Wisconsin boy through and through. What do you do to chill?
First off, it's just family. We have 6 grandkids and 1 more on the way. And right now that's a big part of our focus. Julie and I raised 5 children, so that became lots of fun. But then hobbies, I like to golf. I like to ski. I like to get out on the boat. We love to be on the lakes, be up at our cabin, that kind of thing.
All right. So you just mentioned your family, and that was one of the questions we had for Dick Leinenkugel. There's an Ariens in the window here to make sure that this goes 5th generation Ariens. Yes.
Get one in the pipeline.
Yes. Yeah, there is. Yeah. 5 of our children are all shareholders in this business, and 4 of them work for us right now. 3 of the boys are here: Nick, Daniel, Steven. Daniel is in LA, but he runs what we call the family office today. Nick and Steven run different business units. Elise is part of the family office and was part of hospitality. And then our daughter Claire is figuring herself out in Chicago at 26, and we'll see where she goes next.
That's it. I'm done. John, take it away.
Okay, I love it. The beauty of a family-owned business is that nepotism is actually a good thing. That's what we're striving for as we go through this. All right, here we go. The first one. How long is your driveway?
Wow. I've got a great big circular U-shaped driveway in a good, let me put it this way, in a good snowstorm, meaning sort of 5 or 6 inches or more, It takes me an hour and a half, and I do it myself. You know why? Because I can't get anybody to show up. So I just get up early and do it, and I love doing it.
Okay. How much snow do you have to do before you break out the snowblower as opposed to I can just shovel this?
I never shovel. I never shovel, ever.
That is one of my great joys, is when there's just enough that I can go, you know what, I can shovel this. I find it relaxing. I love it.
Yeah, I know. And but it would be, unless I make an errand shovel, I've got to use my stuff. So
sure,
what I do is I get a power broom out. I have a power broom, and I run that broom across the driveway. It's really good.
Right. Reasonable facsimile. That's great. Let's see. I'm thinking people in deer season are out in the woods. I see Schneider Transport. I see you guys. What's with the color orange?
Yeah, that's a great question. That we have 2 theories, but we have no real answer that is correct. So the 2 theories are Dutch name, Ariens. Dutch is kind of an orange color if you look at their flag and you look at a lot of it. So that's one theory. The other theory is, which I think is more true, which is that we used to have green in our color. It was a dark sort of navy green. I think that as we began to compete in the agriculture business with another green company, we wanted to differentiate that. Mm-hmm. So an orange stands out against the soil. We were in tillage for gardening. So the orange was kind of a safety thing. You could see it well.
By the way, why can't I find a hex number for that orange? Is it just because you're going to make me buy the spray paint so that it matches?
Oh, yeah, darn right. we have a special Pantone for that, John.
Exactly. Yeah. And I couldn't find it. I'm like, okay, they're just going to know we're holding it back. So you order the product in the can. How high is Ariens Hill?
Ooh, I should know that off the top of my head. I know that the slope is 17 degrees. I know that because it was quite the math to figure that out. I'm going to say it's 42 feet.
It is
That sounds like a good number.
46 feet high.
Oh, I'm close.
Yeah,
Thanks.
if you're just eyeballing that, that's pretty darn good from there.
Yeah.
So Brillion is named after the German city Brillion. Who can't spell? Because the one in Germany has one L and you got two.
I'm going to say that we can't spell because I think they were first.
All right.
Yeah.
Brillion, the city, the community, the village of Brillion is 2.75 square miles. What would be the best machine if I needed to go out and plow the whole city?
We've got a beautiful machine called the Mammoth.
Okay.
We just launched it with a snow head on it, John. It'll throw snow 100 yards. I swear to you.
We get
without wind.
Get
Without
the whole
wind.
place done in an hour and a half then, just like your driveway when it comes through. You went to St. Thomas. They're the Tommies.
Yes.
St. John's is the Johnnies.
Yes.
St. Olaf's the Olies. What's St. Cloud?
Oof. Cloudies.
Nope, they're Huskies. How about St. Mary's?
St. Mary's. Oh, my brother went there. Are they the Wolves?
They're Cardinals.
That was so close.
Yeah. Have you ever told an Ole and Lena joke?
Yeah, but I can't tell it here.
Really?
No, there's
All right.
a lot of things.
Very good. Last one. Which of these is the largest number? Billion, brilliant, or bajillion?
I'm going to go with bajillion.
I think it is too. I don't know for sure. I think only one of them is actually is really a number, but I think that takes care of all the nonsense that I have. Other than thank you for your time, because this was not nonsense. It was great to hear about the company and the history, which is fascinating. Whenever you can kind of dig all the way back to the ground floor of these things, and what, like I said, that you can go kind of anywhere in this country and even in the world, and again, identify a product and go, wow, that's home. Like I said, whether it's the foundry or the napkin and some of those things, it's even for a guy out, and unlike Dick Leinenkugel, I can get your product out here, which is even nicer, right? I can go right down the street. I can go at 2.5 miles and find my snowblower.
Yeah.
So
we saw a lot of them in Connecticut.
Yeah, it's terrific. Thanks so much for your time. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Yeah, thanks, Trevor. Good to see you guys.
Inside Wisconsin is brought to you by Baycare Clinic, Blaine's Farm and Fleet, the University of Wisconsin-Platteville, Rolltech, Festival Foods, Capital Credit Union, North Star Mohican Casino Resort, American Family Insurance, Miller Lite, and Ariens Company.
Hey, remember to subscribe on YouTube, leave a review, smash the like button, just get with us. Fun to talk a little Packers with Dan Ariens, not a lot of Packers. He was like, please don't call me and complain about the team. Let's tailgate. Let's go to the official grocery and tailgating headquarters of the Green Bay Packers. That's Festival Foods. John, I'm super pumped for this. Okay, so.
Me too. I've been having to do a lot of stress eating because of the Packers.
I'm going to help you with that. So next episode, Mark Scogan's going to come on, the CEO of Festival Foods, right? Mm-hmm. We're sending you a Festival Foods care package because we feel bad that we're going to do an entire Festival Foods episode and you can't go to a Festival Foods store. So watch for that in the mail. We're going to send you the best of Festival Foods so that you don't feel left out. Don't open
stack
that
it up
package
behind me here and we can see it all.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of like my stack of beer that I had that first episode or whatever.
Great.
Yeah. Excited for that. I'll do my best to pick out some things. It's not that hard. Just go to festfoods.com. Look at the list of things they have for tailgating. It's all there. Click on the G on the homepage and just shop Festival Foods for your next tailgate. I got your back, buddy. We're going to send you some stuff. You're good.
I appreciate that. That'll be edible because the last package you sent me was a brick.
Yeah, sorry. Well, I thought it was meaningful. Come on.
It is, but you can't eat it.
No, you can't. But Festival Foods is much better in the digestion category. I'm with you. All right, watch for that package. Shop at Festival Foods if you can. Snow throwing is a peaceful event here in Wisconsin and Connecticut. That was great chatting with Dan Ariens.
I mean, yeah, I'm ready for the snow to fly. Let's go. Yeah. Let's bring it on. I'm not, as you know, I'm not scared of winter. None of us are. If you grew up there, you're not scared of winter, right? This happens at ESPN all the time, especially with the world famous Bill Pito, who now works for MSG and does great stuff with the Rangers and the Knicks. But Bill was obsessed with snow all the time. And we get these huge snowstorms and he'd be like, Anderson, what do we do? And I said, Bill, we just shovel it. And then Tomorrow we go out, and that's what we do. And that was just totally, he was like, this is a handicap. I can't come to work tomorrow. I can't do this all the time. Like, Bill, just shovel it and then drive to work. Not that hard. I mean, I guess shoveling is hard, but the solution is not. You don't have to overthink the solution. The actual physical manual labor of it is, but
The solution is an Ariens snow thrower, whether it's from the 70s or the 80s or the new 2022 model that Dan talked about.
Apparently, yeah, coming. Well, it only comes in orange, but still, they come. They look great.
It stands out. All right, hey man, we've missed some John Wisconsin stories the last few times that we've connected here in Inside
Wisconsin. You're out with the people of Wisconsin, and I enjoy that, man. That's great.
I am.
So it's hard.
We're going to do that again.
It's hard to top that.
We're going to do that again, but let's
I
also
just traffic in nostalgia. You're trafficking in real life.
You were trafficking in London last time we chatted, so
yeah, that wasn't terrible. Well, except for maybe the second half.
Exactly.
Which, by the way, I blame entirely on Dick Leinenkugel. Whatever. We'll do that another time.
Okay, sure.
So I have two John Wisconsins, and I'm thinking, what are we going to tell the story? There's one that's sort of snow and tobogganing related.
Okay.
Or there's one that involves sharp objects. So I feel like either one's appropriate.
All
right, so here's what we're gonna do. My mother's never heard the truth of this story. Hopefully, she doesn't know the internet, and she's not gonna watch.
Great.
And then hopefully, my older brother Bill, will not watch because I'm gonna get punched in the head. So I'm going out on a limb here with sharp objects.
The floor is yours.
Right, but it comes from the idea that these can be dangerous things. All right, so I'm a youngster. I'm like 8 years old, right? And my two brothers, again, who I said they were stepbrothers, but we were all one big happy blended family. And my brother, who Bill is 75, not 75 years old, graduated 75, 77. He's 6-7 years older than I am. So when you figure I'm 8 or 9, he's 16. And we are playing Mumbly Peg. You know what that is?
No.
You go out there with your jackknife, right? A little Mumbly Peg, and you stand with your legs apart. And you stand like 2 feet apart, and you throw the jackknife, and it lands between the legs. Jeez. And then you take a step back, and you get your legs a little closer, and then you do it again, and you step back, and it's sort of a game of chicken.
Darwin, that's what it is.
Sort of a game of chicken. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we get to a part where we are far enough away that now it takes some aim, and my brother gets a loose with one, and it hits me in my thigh. You still see right here. Hits me in my thigh. So he just jumps up. He's very calm, and he pulls the knife out of my leg. And he pinches it, and then he looks he covers my mouth so I don't scream, and he says, "If you tell Mom, I'll kill you." Okay. Now, I told you that part of the story so I could tell you this part.
Okay.
Fast forward. I'm now 20. Maybe, not 20, 21. I have torn up my ankle in college the previous year, cast, surgeries. It's awful.
Okay.
So now the next summer comes home, and we're sitting there. This is the summer after that. And we're in the family kitchen, and Bill, who is now, 27, 20, he's out, but he's back in the house today to visit Mom and whatever it is, probably to give me my birthday present because it happened there. And my mom is standing at the counter, and I'm wearing shorts, and she looks down, and she sees this scar on my leg. And she looks, and all she goes, "Now what happened? Where on earth did you get that?" And my brother is standing behind her, goes like this. And I say, I spiked myself with the back of my high jump shoe, and that's still wouldn't cop to it. 12 years later, didn't cop to it. Now it's out there.
October 25th, 2022.
I have a scar on my leg. My brother stabbed me with a jackknife.
Jeez.
But enough about me.
Okay, good.
And my idiot family. What do you got going?
It's the Deeper Roots. So we're on to episode number 5 of the Inside Wisconsin's Deeper Roots with Blaine's Farm and Fleet. We have talked about the farmer. We talked about that. We talked about the cheesemonger, the Recco ring down in Grafton, and of course, last episode was the golfer. Episode number 5, John, I went fishing.
Oh, thank God that was you and not me.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, I was like, this is going to be the thing and the fishing, and you'll be pleasantly surprised I didn't catch anything, but this is a really fun time. We went up to almost to Hayward, man. It was the Chippewa flowage to the Indian Trails Resort. that is where we met John and Brenda Detloff. This guy, John, has been guiding the Chippewa flowage, and they're on the Indian Trails Resort in the far northern part of Wisconsin for 50 years. He's got some stories, and a bar that I sat at for a minute that's like 100 years old. You'll like it. It's Deeper Roots with Blaine's Farm and Fleet. We're calling this one The Fisherman. Inside Wisconsin's Deeper Roots with Blaine's Farm and Fleet, episode 5 with John Detloff, the guide of the Chippewa flowage here at Indian Trails Resort. John, thanks for having us out.
I'm glad to have you. This looks like a good musky day. Anxious to get on the water and see if we can catch something.
And if we catch something, we come back and ring this bell. I don't want to jinx it. Farmers, brewers, hunters, packers, badgers, cheeseheads, neighbors. No matter what name we go by, we are bound together by our roots. These are the people, the stories, and the patriotism from inside Wisconsin. Welcome to Deeper Roots with Blaine's Farm and Fleet. That's the muskie bell. Tell us about that quick.
That's right. When a guest of ours catches a muskie, any muskie over 30 inches long, they come and they ring the bell to celebrate their catch and alert the whole resort that they caught a muskie. Any muskie is a victory and something to be proud of, and that's a tradition that we've been following with for years and years.
Let's see how it goes. Let's go fishing. Thanks,
Sounds
John.
great.
John, you've been here 50 years?
Moved up here when I was 10 from Chicago, and prior to that we were coming up here as guests for 7 years before that. So I've been here in one way, shape, or form since I was 2 years old.
I've never muskie fished, so this is like acting like you're teaching a kid, even though I'm almost 40.
Well, it's a fun, exciting sport. It takes a lot of patience.
Can you imagine if I catch one? Like, I know I'm probably not going to catch one, but you, like, first time muskie fishing, you know how many people?
It has happened. You
That's
never
right.
know. This is a creeper, which is my all-time favorite bait. My wife and I caught more fish and bigger fish on a creeper than any other bait. And especially in a lake like the Chippewa flowage, topwater baits are awesome.
How many muskie do you think you've caught in 50 years?
Right around caught and guided close to 1,400.
Wow. How many yourself?
Um,
$13.99?
Probably, no, maybe half, I don't know.
How many days ago was the last one you caught?
I think about 3 days ago, and I caught it on this bait.
Well, let's go.
And then here's this other one for you.
Oh,
this
you're
one,
using that one. Okay.
Yeah, nobody touches my Bugsy creeper. That's
Nope, including me. What's this one?
This is an orange globe. My dad was a tournament caster, and he couldn't do any better than that.
Well.
With all these baits, it's just a slow, steady retrieve.
So, I can't talk and cast at the same time.
That was a good
sure you
cast.
understand. Thanks.
That was good.
We talked about how your family, this is the third generation or fourth generation. I mean, you got some deep roots.
Yeah, you might say third generation. My uncle and my grandparents ran the resort in the late 60s, early 70s, and we were vacationing here during that period, and even before he owned it. And then once he was done, my parents bought it from him, and then I was here since I was 10 years old, working right off the bat, had my various duties, and then some years later, I bought into it with my mom, and we were partners, and when she retired, my wife and I continued running it, and here we are today, 50 years later. So it's just a love of what we do. We have 7 cabins. We have what we call a bunkhouse, which is a lakeside motel with 9 private sleeping rooms. Some of our guests have had the same cabin the same week for 30 years or more. The people realize that places like this are slowly disappearing, and it's nice to know that there are still some places, some mom and pop businesses that are thriving and doing well and are out there happy to serve the people.
You're not only a guide for 50 years, you've not only been on the Indian Trails Resort your entire life, but you are a full-fledged historian. How many books have you authored, John?
I've written 3 different books, and I've done a lot of articles, usually historical, fishing lore, Indian history, resort history, guide profiles. I just love the history of the Northwoods is always fascinating and important to document.
A Chicago boy fell in love with the Northwoods of Wisconsin. Who would have thunk? That happens regularly, doesn't it?
It does.
You know every inch of this water?
The biggest secret to fishing is learning the lake, learning the structure that you're fishing, learning the shape of the bars, or where the stumps are, or where the hiding places are, where the weed beds are. You don't have to learn the whole lake, but you just learn whatever spots you choose, learn those spots really well, and then you're going to be producing fish. Some people might not be hardcore fishermen, but they'll go out here and they'll wet a line and dabble, and they'll enjoy it just as much as the seasoned veteran. It's all about just getting out on the lake and just letting this beautiful countryside just seep into your being, you know, and it's very, very therapeutic and relaxing.
This is really fun. Thank you for having us up. This is an addicting thing. Like, thanks for teaching me how, because now I don't want to go in even though I'm freezing. Let's go have a beer is what I'm trying to say out loud.
Yeah, I've got to open the bar.
So here we are at the Little Red Bar that you told us about. This bar, this bar is how old?
This bar is 85 years old, and this goes way back to when the resort was first built in 1937. Actually, the room above us was the original bar, and this was all underground. And then after World War II, they tunneled underneath the original bar and lodge building, created this room, and then they dismantled this bar, which was upstairs, brought it down here and reassembled it. And so this bar down here has been here since 1945.
You said that if you didn't have this, that you really wouldn't want to do this. This is where it all comes together, and the stories and the whole thing.
Well, it'd be a lot less fun and memorable, because the bar at a resort situation setting is kind of the glue that holds everything together. It's the meeting place, it's the social place, it's the place where guests can get to know each other and have fun and joke around and tell fish stories and celebrate their fishing victories or lament their defeats after they lose a big muskie. Just a lot of good times are had here in the Little Red Bar.
I mean, it is Wisconsin. There's something about a bar in Wisconsin that's a piece of our culture, whether it's with hunting or resort life or the Northwoods or whatever the case may be. And behind us now, I mean, this is where it all comes together. This is the muskie chart.
That's right.
Nobody can touch this but you said, right?
Well, since I was 10 years old, I've been keeping the records because I had good printing skills. Our charts go back to 1955, and since then we've had almost 8,000 muskies caught by our guests out of our resort and registered here.
Are those caught by John Detloff on there?
Those two biggest ones aren't. No, two of our guests.
It's like you know what you're doing or something.
My wife, Brenda, she caught the two biggest fish out of our boat this year. She got a nice 45 and 44-inch muskie.
Also behind us and here in the Little Red Bar, there are trophy fish. And these are ones that you've caught over the years. I love that you are trying to preserve everything that your family from generations back has built with the deep roots that you've established here in the Northwoods of Wisconsin. And your hope in being a mom and pop business is it just stays that way forever.
Yes, I know it won't, but I'm going to do my best, to keep this going. My wife and I just love what we're doing. My wife Brenda's a fisher person, a hunter, an outdoors lady, so she just is a great part of this whole scheme. And us being a couple that likes to fish, it encourages other couples that come here, and it's like, well, yeah, this is not just a man's sport, it's for the whole family.
Well, thanks for having us out. Thanks for allowing us to come and visit, and thanks for taking us fishing, teaching me how to cast. I did not lose any lures, didn't hit any trees or get snagged, which is saying something.
Sounds great. It's a pleasure to have you out there.
Cheers. You might be surprised I don't have sea legs. Am I blocking the wind for you guys? I'm not a fisherman, John. Like, I got my license just so nobody got in trouble, but.
Good. And then I'm casting. Well, that's an example of what not to do.
Hey, do we have to be quiet? Is this like hunting?
You don't
or doesn't that matter?
The talking doesn't seem to bother things.
Well, that's good because I talk a bit.
The proportion of losing baits is equal to the proportion of losing clients.
I caught a leaf. Oh, you need some help here? Or?
Should be okay. Whoops. You see that one big boulder there?
Yeah.
Don't take it for granted.
I get it. That was a good dad joke, John.
Yeah, that's all I have.
That's it? And that's a wrap of episode 5 of Inside Wisconsin's Deeper Roots with Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Remember, here on YouTube, hit subscribe, smash the like button, and over on the podcast side, leave us a 5-star review. Scroll to the bottom, click 5 stars, maybe write a little review about Deeper Roots. We'd appreciate it. If you want to learn more about John and Brenda Detloff and Indian Trail Resort, head to their website, IndianTrailResort.com. You will love their little spot of heaven in the Northwoods. And as always, if you have a Deeper Roots story here in the state of Wisconsin that you want us to share, head to the website and fill out the form. It's farmandfleet.com/deeperroots. We love sharing these stories with all of you. Share with us now. Who do you want to learn more about? Head to the website, farmandfleet.com/deeperroots.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Hey, remember to subscribe on YouTube, leave a review, smash the like button, just get with us.
Inside Wisconsin is brought to you by Baycare Clinic, Blaine's Farm and Fleet, the University of Wisconsin-Platteville, Rolltech, Festival Foods, Capital Credit Union, North Star Mohican Casino Resort, American Family Insurance, Miller Lite, and Ariens Company.
Shut up and sit down.